Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the History of Fan Anime. I'm your host, William Chow. In today's episode, we're going to talk about a series of episodes talking about collections and how people's collections have grown and what we've got in everyone's sort of different collections. So before we begin, I want to remind everyone to go down below, click like, and click subscribe. And again, if you want to see more episodes of this particular type of content, you can always leave comments and that kind of stuff and tell me about things that are in your collection. And if you'd like to support me, I also do have the links for the super thanks below, as well as the links for PayPal and Patreon, where I'm releasing different episodes and that kind of stuff, special content for those particular subscribers. And thank you for your support, all right? So, and again, today's episode, I'm going to start a very series of episodes talking about people's collections and things like that. And there's many different people in my anime club. This is a group around us that has different types of collections, and I'm going to go through and sort of go over how they've collected so many different things, what they've done, special things that are in their collections.
Reminds me of a collection that was just brought in over to Game Changers Mission, Old Timer, model kit, wooden original boat, where you could put the motor, and the motor was not with it, in the box with all of its parts ready to go, and you could go, motorized boating with it. It's just amazing. Like, and I'm going to touch a little bit on the sports card side and the collectible side, and I'm just using Ken out of Pastime, but over the years that he has built up. But those collectors were not just the sports cards, but the football helmets, the pennants, the pucks, the jerseys. The jerseys are huge.
Yes.
Just amazing. I'm still trying to find an old Portland Trailblazers trash can. Mine rotted out originally when I bought off of like Superstar or whatever in the mall. But yeah, it just keeps going on and on and on. And I joke about knitting needle con for grandma, but you think of back in the day with our grandparents, using the knitting club as an example, where you met people, you met friends. And it's the same thing here with the collectors. Yeah, there's some odd collectors that rub us the wrong way at an event or whatever, just personally. But their stuff is good. They sell professionally, and they're great. I think just even, you look at Vern Siebert, was a former all-star wrestler here, now big-time collector and also at the shows. And you go up to Vern, you talk about the old days, you talk about the territories, you talk about there's people with huge wrestling collections out there. And I'm not just talking about toys. I'm looking at what WWE's hidden treasures, and some guy's got a house full of WWE stuff from 1980 or 1990 or whatever, and just amazing. I'm so flabbergasted by, in the sense I want to call it a hobby, and it really isn't a hobby. It's a passion, because when you find that odd piece, and again, or you make a friend from this, to me it's gold. A very eclectic collection. Yeah, I have a big collection to Sailor Venus. I would literally bust out to Chinatown or Richmond or Imperial Hobbies and pick up these odd, going down to Comic Shop on 4th. It's changed various locations. But I'd pick up a lot of Sailor Moon items, but also comic books. And I have some Marvel pins that I've collected over the years. Just to basically generally describe my collection, I collect a lot of Sailor Moon. I've collected comic books for years. We've done sports cards, posters, and wall scrolls, figures. And I also have a collection of mythological gods and goddesses, and also a bookshelf of different things. So, and I have some Ghibli stuff. I have some Marvel stuff. I have some DC figs. And just recently, I can't remember where I bought this Catwoman, but the card, and I didn't know the cards back then were heat pressed. So they didn't glue them on. They heat press the cards, the bubble onto it. So the bubble separated. Fortunately, because the way it is now, I found another one locally at a toy shop. But yeah, no, my dad built me shelves so I could display my Sailor Moon stuff. I have some of the Kuposkes. One of my favorite was going down to Oddline, Evergreen Toys. I'm a big Captain Harlock fan, okay? I love Captain Harlock. Remember ordering through Dennis at Heroes, my Captain Harlock poster and Queen Emerald's poster, but they had these little, I guess, Chacobin or Gaspon type toys. I hopefully I'm pronouncing it right, but a set of Captain Harlock with his skull, his bust, and a couple of the other figures, and it was just, it was great, and yeah, I just treasure it. And then my most recent, I guess, find for me on my mythological gods and goddesses. There's a nice little shop, metaphysical shop in Abbotsford, but I've been looking at this one figure online and through other stores. It's the Norse goddess Freya sitting down on her throne with her cats. I got it for a reasonable price, like $60, and it's usually 120 or 130 or whatever it was. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm going to buy it. And I have a lot of crystals. I love a lot of crystals. I have a lot of tarot decks. I have a lot of rune stuff. I'm kind of a very magical type collector in that aspect with anime and comic books and the DC Marvel and independent stuff. Here's an oddball find. I can't remember where I did. There was a little shop in Mission. He's gone now. I have a she as an independent she warrior, like SHI, Christmas bulb, like an ornament, Christmas ornament of she, which is really, really oddball, but I got it for like $5-10. Or one of my other great finds. Adam usually doesn't give out a good deal down at Grey Haven, but Adam's great. If you're ever in White Rock, go down to Grey Haven Hobbies, still peruse the shelves. He sold me his plush Cthulhu dressed as Elvis for $5. It's like, hey, the big man's coming home, Oh yeah, it's just on my cassette collection, because we used to have cassettes. Our parents used to have 8-tracks and LPs, and that we're not even touching on that subject of people who collect not just LPs today, but stereo systems back from the day, the Hitachis and the RCAs, and going to A&B Sound and the old Expo area at Boxing Day, waiting out line to get that cassette or that stereo deal. It was a really, in that sense, it was a magical time. I'm not saying today is a magical time in the sense we're collecting. You guys just have a different type of, I'm going to call it a renaissance. We haven't even touched on the cosplay in the aspect of people who make their own stuff or who buy their own stuff and have their wardrobes, or the Lolitas, another genre. What also came to my mind was remembering Dad's old Playboy collection back in the 70s and that aspect. Just a different, wide variety between when we, again, grew up in the 70s till now. And however the future may unfold digitally and AI, and maybe we're going to be collecting robots, I don't know. But
I figure because like one of the things I always thought was interesting, especially when we're doing collections and that kind of stuff, is some pieces have really high significance because of maybe how we got them, or there's a background story to them. Like this piece has been handed down.
Yes.
Whatever. Okay, so I've told probably this story already earlier when I did the interview with Vince, but I'm gonna just sort of put it in here again because the fact that this is more pertain to collections and that kind of stuff, and we got onto the topic of when we talk about big collections and that kind of stuff, and as Troy's been sort of reiterating some of the stories that he comes up with as he's purchased some of these things, like for example the Elvis Cthulhu, for example.
one of the stories that I always have, and that's always sort of like the background behind some of these pieces, right? Is that we get these pieces in our collection that maybe not all that 100% hard to get sometimes, and maybe even afterwards you find them on the internet and whatnot, eBay, whatever. But when we got them, there was a really significant story that's very interesting, and I'm just going to reiterate the one story that I got from the San Diego Comic Con that suits really well right here. So year was 2004. I went to San Diego Comic Con with Harry, Vince, and Victor. And one of the things that was the big deal this year was that a whole bunch of people were releasing limited number of whatever it happens to be. And so to prevent people from just flooding in on the first day and just buying all of them or whatever, what they did is they kind of broke it up and made it so that everyone had a fair chance, kind of thing, throughout the convention, throughout the multiple days. So what they did is they developed this raffle system. So I think at this time, one of the big things was for HeroClix, the game HeroClix. They just released the giant Galactus figure, okay, and they developed one of this ticket system, this lottery system to just get the ability to buy the kit. Not even it's not given to you for free. You have to still pay money for it, but this gives you the opportunity on any given day, any given hour to to buy one of these things. And so, this particular day, we all went to the Yamato booth, which is the booth run by Kiyomiya. At their company, or the company that he was working for and doing this promotion with, was releasing a set of figures from Silent Mobius, Compiler, Dominion Tank Police. I can't remember the last one, but yeah, they had a bunch of different animes, which they're releasing a set of figures for, and the limited edition one that they were that people were after in this particular set was a set of the Puma sisters from Dominion Tank Police, and so they developed this. So basically, the four of us got in line. We had to get the tickets for this particular this opportunity to buy it. So we got 4 tickets, and then they were going to make the draw, at the end of the hour or whatever. Me and Victor were more interested in getting the figures, and Vince and Harry weren't. So they went off and went to the convention, but they gave us their tickets. So me and Vic had basically 4 tickets in order to get a chance to win this thing, and hopefully that will improve our odds. And you only need 1 ticket, right? So you don't need multiple tickets to do that. So, but anyway, so it turns out that of the 4 tickets, 3 of them were winning tickets. So me and Vic, got our tickets to buy the Puma sisters. So that wasn't a problem, and I had this extra ticket. So, just while I'm walking around the Cortland area, looking at all the displays and picking out the stuff that I wanted to buy, I just casually walked over to the lineup of the next hours of people waiting to buy, to get a ticket and to win their chance, right? And I just sort of wandered by and just quietly going, "Winning ticket, anyone? Winning ticket, right?" And this woman right in front just said, "Oh, I'll take it." And so I said, "Okay, fine, here you go. This is a winning ticket. I don't need it. I already got mine, right?" And she's like, "Oh, thank you. Really." So she, used that ticket. She, bypassed that line and kind of got in and got her thing, right? I didn't think anything else of it, and I just left that alone. So I picked up my stuff. I think I picked up the Puma sister. I picked up a Katsumi. And I picked up, a compiler, and I think I picked up an assembler figurine. And I figured that later on I'll probably end up getting them signed or whatever. And eventually, when I met up with Kiyomiya later on that day, he was able to sign all my figurines as well. But so here I was, going up to the lineup, to pay for it, right? And the I was getting ready to to make my payment. The smallest bill I had was like a 50, and so I was trying to make the payment, and all of a sudden, the guy goes, "Well, I don't have change." And I goes, "Well, that isn't my problem." It's just like, like I'll stand and wait for a little bit, and then maybe someone else will pay cash, and then you can exchange that. But I mean, if unless the other person that's coming to pay has change, then that doesn't really work, right? So I'm just standing around and kind of waiting for the person to figure out how to process my payment, right? Anyway, while this is all happening, the woman that I gave that ticket to kind of comes up, and she's got her stuff, right, and then she, because she recognizes me again, going, "Oh, I'd like to thank you for the ticket. That my son really likes this thing, and you saved me so much time by with that this is I'd like to thank you." And he goes, "Okay, that's great." Anyway, it turns out that while I'm conversing with the guy, he's going, the still fact that he still doesn't have change. The woman said, no, just I'll pay for that. And she basically gave him her card information or whatever, and she ended up paying for my Puma sister, and stuff like for me. And he says, no, thank you. You saved me a lot of time. Thank you very much. And so this is where, my story of karma. Sometimes when you do good things, acts of kindness, it comes back to you, right? And so basically, I basically got that entire set for free, thanks to this woman, and thanks to the fact that I gave her my winning ticket, and she was just more than happy that for the time saved, and to get all the things that she needed for her son, and that was great. So so this is just one of these kind of stories that you get from collecting things and whatnot. And these are sort of the backgrounds, sort of like the history behind some of these figures. And not only when you look at someone's collection, like as large as say someone like Troy's, for example, it's also the fact that these people who do the collecting and that kind of stuff, they hold a wealth of stories behind like all the pieces that they have. So that's why I always kind of find it really funny when, I see weird, odd TikTok videos of people just having, just random things that they've purchased and whatnot, and they've put on there, as kind of like trophies, if you will. But sometimes there's no story behind some of those things. Like, I see people with, I don't know, shall we say, store-bought collections, if you will. It's just kind of things that are done, but like by subscription, if you will. Low effort collections, I would say. Sometimes there is no history or no significance to that, significance to the story of them, except for those odd pieces. And a lot of times, it's those odd pieces, as maybe as insignificant as they are, probably hold the most sentimental, the most significant, and maybe sometimes the most interesting stories in their collections. All right, that's just something that people who have been doing this for a while and who have had very massively large collections like this. Sometimes it's the stories that is more interesting than the actual figures themselves.
I mean, look at Pokemon, using Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh as an example. As much as we have Pokemon Go, but before that, there was cards, tactile cards, where you collected your Pikachus and your Charmanders and whatever else. I mean, I mean, yes, there's online communities and people go out and play whatever war game is out there, or they have their little cliques or whatever, and they go down and they, online gaming at whatever e-sport thing, and that's great. I mean, that's kind of the new thing. But I agree with you, but you're stuck in a virtual world. You're not out there like we're doing right now, having a physical conversation, not just about reminiscing about the old times, but cherishing the now, but also wondering about the future and where people are going to connect in the future and where we're going to connect now and how we're going to connect now. Because of my Sailor Moon stuff, I met a lot of the original voice actors and I met some of the newer voice actors. And it's just a privilege to meet these individuals. You know, they got lives and they got families and so forth, but it's just nice once in a while I hear from them, or I just pop in at Christmas and just say, hey, Merry Christmas, hope things are well. And, you know, you just build things, you build connections. And yeah, over time, yeah, we all tend to have lost connections with certain people too. But, you know, I think if people are truly connected with each other, no matter how long the time frame is, if you're apart or not. I mean, you've heard about pen pals. This is way back in the day. But you see stories of ladies back in the 50s or whatever had pen pals, and they're meeting them now for the first time because they're, you know, technology can fly them into whatever city or state or country, and you're seeing the tears of joy with meeting their pen pal. You know, those kind of stories. Just again, it's connections. I think I really want to stress connections. You're connected to your physical, tactile. We'll call them toys or figures or whatever. It gives you that pleasure. And I'm going to reach out to the board gaming community. Not going to get wrong with you guys, but when you're playing D&D or some other type of games, it's the connection with that group. Whether you're online or you're physically in a group or whatever you're playing, or whatever board game you're playing, it's that connection with the people and the enjoyment of the people. And using D&D as a great example now with the minifigures. Back in the day, you had your characters and you imagine your character. Now they design these minifigures and you can move the little minifigure on your 10 by 10 space and you know, it's just
dynamics
yeah.
is different because now it's not only you imagine your surroundings and that kind of stuff, but you can actually
build it.
Strategically plan things much better.
Yeah.
Position yourself and I think it just really helps aid in things like problem solving and
That's a huge thing.
Planning out for
Exactly.
possible things like because you're worried about being ambushed or
Yeah.
that you want to or you don't all want to stand in a clump in case someone decides to throw a fireball.
Oh yeah, no, I had a D&D character die. I didn't know the gal could see me. I could turn invisible, but I cut off from the main group. I was gonna go assassinate her because I thought my plan was gonna work, right? And no, I get chopped down or whatever. Like, and I find out, oh yeah, she could see you. Just the way it is. Yeah, I just. Oh man, I'm like going back to the sports card stuff. I mean, see Will wearing his Lions jersey here, and I remember I was a big Whitecaps fan. A buddy gave me his little Whitecaps T-shirt, like those old short sleeve kind of T-shirts. I'm a big, huge Whitecaps fan.
Yeah. I think one thing that sports does is it helps break down a lot of the extra barriers and the social constructs that we have. So it really doesn't matter if you're, from what class or what race or whatever. If it's its own sense of community.
I just went to that PGA event last year, and there was everybody and anybody there, enjoying these female ladies with their skills and hitting this little golf ball down toward a little hole in a flagstick or whatever. But various people were there enjoying them. Some odd people were a little bit drunk, but they were watching and clapping and walking the distance and everything, but it was that camaraderie as well. They were with seeing who they wanted to see perform, or when you go to a Canuck game or Lions game here locally, wherever you're from, important.
No.
Can you imagine like somebody collecting those old opera glasses from, let's say, 1800s to like 1940s, and just where do you store that? I've seen people with camera collections from those early years, and some shops still display. I think still one left, but display the old cameras. But people collected cameras, just insane.
All right, so do stay tuned, and we will have more. Okay, so until next time, I will see you again.